Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, where did my day go? We all get the same 24 hours, not a minute more, not a second less. Yet, some people build empires while others lose themselves in distractions. The truth is, time doesn't fly, we do. Every hour we waste is a piece of our potential slipping away. So today, let's talk about how to use your 24 hours not just to exist, but to live purposefully, grow deeply, and rise beautifully. Because your day is your life in miniature. You know, one of the most powerful truths I've learned in life is that how you begin your day often decides how the rest of it unfolds. Most of us open our eyes and immediately dive into the world. Notifications, messages, endless comparisons. Before we've even taken our first deep breath, our minds are already racing, reacting and responding to everything outside of us. But the question I want you to ask yourself is this: when was the last time you actually started your day for you? Not for the world, not for your responsibilities, not for your phone, but for your soul. The first hour after you wake up is sacred. It's not just the beginning of a day, it's the foundation of your entire mindset. When you fill it with chaos, everything that follows feels rushed, scattered, and heavy. But when you fill it with stillness, clarity, and purpose, everything begins to flow differently. That's why I believe in starting the day with intention, not reaction. The world can wait for an hour, but your peace, your clarity, your growth, they cannot. Take a few minutes in silence. Breathe deeply. Feel grateful for simply being alive, because not everyone gets another sunrise. Before you let the world tell you who you are, remind yourself of who you want to be. Write down 1 or 2 things you want to achieve today. Not big things, just small steps that matter to you. Maybe it's reading for 20 minutes, calling a loved one, or taking a walk without your phone. These small acts, done with intention, shape your entire mindset. Because when you start your day knowing what you want from it, you stop letting the day control you. You see, the problem isn't that we don't have time. It's that we lose our direction. When you wake up reacting to others, you hand over control of your day. But when you wake up responding to your own purpose, you take it back. So choose to start slow. Choose to start mindfully. Even if it's just with a cup of tea, sitting quietly with your thoughts, letting your mind settle before the storm of tasks and noise begins. In that silence, you'll find clarity. In that stillness, you'll remember what truly matters. Every sunrise is a chance to reset your mindset. To start again, stronger, wiser, and softer. Don't underestimate the power of that first hour, because that's where transformation begins. The most successful, peaceful, and fulfilled people aren't those who have more hours in a day. They're the ones who use their mornings to design their mindset. So tomorrow, when you open your eyes, don't rush. Don't reach for your phone. Reach for yourself. Give yourself that quiet gift of presence before the world takes your attention away. Because the way you start your day is, in truth, the way you start your life. Every day we wake up with a list of things to do, emails to send, chores to finish, people to meet, goals to chase. But somewhere in that long list, we often lose sight of what truly matters. We end up being busy, yet not productive. We move constantly, but not always forward. And that's the painful truth about time. It doesn't slow down for confusion. If we don't decide what's important, life will decide it for us. You see, the real secret to using your 24 hours wisely is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. We all have limited energy, and when we spend it on everything, we leave nothing for the things that truly bring meaning or growth. So before your day begins, pause and ask yourself, what are the 3 things that truly deserve my attention today? Not 10, not 20. just 3. It could be finishing that one project that brings you closer to your dream, spending time with someone who fills your heart, or simply taking care of your health, your peace, your soul. When you learn to prioritize, you shift from being busy to being intentional. And that's where the magic happens. Because it's not about how much you do, it's about how deeply you engage with what you choose to do. 1 hour spent with complete focus on something meaningful is far more valuable than 10 hours scattered between distractions and obligations that don't align with who you are. Sometimes we get trapped in the idea that saying yes to everything makes us valuable, but the truth is every yes is also a no to something else. When you say yes to other people's expectations, you might be saying no to your own peace. When you say yes to noise, you're saying no to clarity. Learning to prioritize means learning the power of gentle refusal. The courage to protect your energy for what truly aligns with your purpose. And prioritizing doesn't only mean focusing on work or ambition. It also means giving space to what nurtures your soul. The quiet moments, the rest, the laughter, the self-reflection. Because if you keep running without direction, you might one day arrive somewhere that doesn't even make you happy. The goal is not to fill your schedule, but to fill your life. The beauty of prioritization is that it brings peace. It removes the constant feeling of being behind. You no longer chase time, you move with it calmly and consciously. You start to realize that you don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things. And those right things, chosen with clarity and love, create a life that feels full, not just busy. So every morning, ask yourself this simple question: what truly matters to me today? Then give those things your best energy, your full heart, and your undivided time. Because when you prioritize what matters, your 24 hours don't just pass. They transform you. In today's world, distraction has quietly become one of our biggest thieves. It steals our focus, our peace, and our precious time, not in big, obvious ways, but through small, constant interruptions that keep us from living fully. You open your phone just to check one message, and suddenly 20 minutes are gone. You sit down to work, but a notification pulls you away. Before you know it, half the day has slipped through your fingers, and you wonder where your time went. The truth is, it didn't disappear. It was traded away, piece by piece, for moments that didn't really matter. Your focus is your power. It's the bridge between your dreams and your reality. Every time you give it away to distractions, you delay your own growth. That's why learning to protect your attention isn't just about productivity, it's about self-respect. When you decide to stay present, to give your full energy to one thing at a time, you're telling yourself, my goals deserve my focus. My life deserves my attention. The world around us will always compete for our time. There will always be something to scroll, something to watch, someone to compare yourself with. But the most powerful people are not those who do everything. They're the ones who have learned how to ignore almost everything. Protecting your focus doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world. It means choosing what's worth letting in. It begins with small choices, turning off notifications, creating moments of silence, setting clear boundaries with your devices, with people, and sometimes even with your own thoughts. Because not every thought deserves your attention. Not every invitation deserves your presence. You need to learn to say no, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Every no to distraction is a yes to your purpose. But here's the hard part. Distractions don't always come from outside. Sometimes they come from within, from doubt, fear, or the need for validation. The mind loves comfort, and when things get hard, it looks for escape. That's when we scroll, procrastinate, or switch to something easier. To truly master your focus, you must also learn to sit with discomfort. Stay in the silence when it feels awkward. Finish what you started even when it gets difficult. Because that's where growth begins. In the moments when distraction tries to pull you away, but you stay. And, focus is not about rigidity, it's about presence. Whether you're working, resting, or spending time with someone you love, be fully there. Let your mind be where your feet are. That's how you reclaim your hours, by choosing to live in them, not around them. So protect your focus like it's your dream, because it is. Every moment you stay present, you're building a life that's not just full of time, but full of purpose. It's easy to believe that transformation only happens in grand moments. When you finally land that dream job, achieve that big goal, or have a life-changing experience. But the truth is, life doesn't change in a single moment of glory. It changes in the small, quiet choices we make every single day. The 5 minutes before a meeting, the few minutes in traffic, or those short pauses between tasks. These moments seem insignificant, yet they shape the rhythm of our lives more than we realize. Most of us are waiting for the right time to start something meaningful. We wait for a perfect morning to begin journaling, for more free time to start reading, for motivation to start exercising. But that perfect time never really comes. It's not about waiting for hours. It's about using the small moments that are already in your hands. You don't need to have an entire day to grow. You just need to use the small fragments of time that often go unnoticed. Imagine what would happen if you used the few minutes before bed to reflect on your day, or turned your morning commute into a time for learning something new. Think about how life would change if, instead of scrolling through your phone aimlessly, you took those same 5 minutes to breathe deeply, to plan your next step, or to simply be grateful. These moments may look small, but they carry the potential to build habits that define who you become. When we start valuing small moments, we begin to live more consciously. Instead of feeling that time is slipping away, we start to see how much of it is actually within our control. It's not about doing big things all the time. It's about doing the small things with presence and purpose. The power of transformation lies not in intensity, but in consistency, in showing up again and again, even when the moment feels too small to matter. Every great change begins with a small action repeated over time. A person who reads a few pages a day becomes knowledgeable. A person who practices gratitude for a few minutes every evening becomes peaceful. A person who chooses to reflect for just 5 minutes daily becomes wise. That's the beauty of it. Big results are born from small decisions made with intention. So don't underestimate the quiet power of your small moments. Don't think your day has to be grand to be meaningful. Life isn't built in hours or years. It's built in minutes, in seconds, in choices that seem ordinary but are deeply significant. The person who learns to use these moments wisely doesn't just manage time. They master life. Because at the end of the day, it's not the big leaps that define you. It's how you use the small steps when no one's watching. Some people spend their entire lives chasing productivity, always doing, always moving, always planning the next thing. They measure their worth by how much they accomplish, how many boxes they tick off, how many hours they work. But in the process, they forget what truly gives life its meaning: presence. Because if you're always rushing from one thing to the next, you might achieve a lot, but you'll feel very little. And that's not living, that's existing on fast forward. We're often told to work harder, to keep pushing, to stay busy, as if rest is something to be earned, not something we deserve. But balance is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Productivity helps you move forward, but presence helps you stay grounded. You need both. You need the drive to build and the peace to breathe. You need the discipline to pursue your dreams, but also the grace to enjoy the journey. Because what's the point of success if you're too exhausted to feel it? Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is pause, step back, take a moment to simply be. Notice the sound of the rain, the laughter of a loved one, the warmth of sunlight through your window. These small, gentle moments are what truly feed the soul. They remind you that life is not just about progress. It's about connection. Connection to yourself, to others, and to the present moment you're standing in right now. When you slow down enough to be present, even ordinary things start to feel extraordinary. A cup of coffee in silence becomes a meditation. A walk without your phone becomes healing. A conversation where you truly listen becomes transformative. Presence brings depth to what productivity alone cannot give: fulfillment. Because no matter how much you do in a day, if you're not there while doing it, the day still feels empty. It's not easy, of course. The world celebrates business. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. But what if we celebrated stillness instead? What if we valued peace the same way we value achievement? You don't lose time when you rest. You restore it. You don't fall behind when you pause. You realign. And when you return to your work with presence, everything you do carries more clarity, more intention, and more heart. Balance doesn't mean dividing your hours equally between work and rest. It means giving each moment what it truly deserves. When it's time to focus, be all in. When it's time to rest, be all out. Let yourself fully experience both sides of life, the doing and the being, because that's where harmony is found. Not in constant movement, but in mindful rhythm. So don't just fill your hours with activity. Fill them with awareness. Work with purpose, rest with peace, and live with presence. That's how you turn every 24 hours into a life worth remembering. There's something deeply powerful about the quiet hours at the end of the day. That gentle moment when the world begins to slow down, when the noise fades, and you're left alone with your thoughts. Most people use that time to escape, scrolling through their phones, watching something to distract their mind, or replaying everything that went wrong. But what if you used your evenings not to escape from your day, but to understand it? What if, instead of running from your thoughts, you chose to sit with them, to reflect, and to realign? Each day gives us lessons, but most of us move so fast that we never stop long enough to receive them. Reflection is where learning turns into growth. It's where mistakes become wisdom. When you take a few minutes every night to ask yourself, what did I do well today? What could I have done better? You begin to take ownership of your time. You stop living on autopilot and start living with awareness. It's not about judging yourself. It's about understanding yourself. Gratitude, too, has a way of transforming the end of a day. No matter how ordinary or difficult your day might have been, there's always something to be thankful for. The breath you took, the effort you made, the people who showed kindness. Gratitude shifts your focus from what went wrong to what went right. It teaches your heart to rest in contentment, not comparison. Even the smallest acknowledgement of goodness can quiet the loudest worries. And then there's forgiveness, something we often forget to give ourselves. Some nights, you'll reflect and realize you didn't do everything you planned, or maybe you reacted in ways you wish you hadn't. That's okay. The beauty of the night is that it invites release. You can let go of the weight of the day. You can forgive yourself, breathe deeply, and decide to try again tomorrow. That's the real purpose of reflection. Not perfection, but peace. When you use your evenings to reflect, express gratitude, and reset, you end the day with closure. Your mind becomes lighter, your sleep becomes deeper, and your heart becomes calmer. You begin to understand that every day, no matter how messy or beautiful, was a chapter that shaped you. You learn to stop carrying unfinished emotions into tomorrow. You start each new day not with the weight of yesterday, but with the wisdom it left behind. Life moves fast, but reflection slows it down long enough for meaning to sink in. The way you end your day decides how you begin the next. So tonight, before you sleep, take a moment, not for your phone, not for the world, but for you. Reflect, release, and rest. Because every night is not just an ending, it's a quiet invitation to begin again, better than before.